Brockway.
Hey, Grant, since you're playing Ole Miss, I'm going to first ask about Ty Fifogel. What do you remember about him as in high school days, and how long did you see him with that kind of potential that he's shown as a senior?
I knew he had the ability. I had to play him as a true freshman, which for him probably wasn't the best thing that happened, but because of injuries, he had to play. But knowing where he comes from, knowing his work ethic, there's something in him that I just really liked. I was going to take him at Ole Miss before I left. And because of our relationship, he followed me up here to Indiana. And just because of the hard work he's put in, it's panned out for him. But I always thought he had the potential to be a very special player.
Right, Kevin, then Tom Brew.
Yeah, Coach. I mean, obviously you're an alumni of Mississippi. You were a graduate assistant, and then you were an assistant coach there. How do you reflect back on your time there and kind of the fishbowl existence of being in the SEC as a position coach, where they seem to break down everything about everything there?
Yeah, I was fortunate to get to go play ball at Ole Miss, and then even more fortunate to get to go back and coach. My brother still lives there with his family. Met my wife there. So there's a lot of great memories, a bunch of great friends there. Wouldn't change it for the world. But excited to get a chance to go out there and play another football game. It just happens to be it's against Ole Miss.
All right, Tom, and then Sammy.
Grant, with everything that kind of went on this weekend with how the bowl situation fell, a lot of people have been talking about this Ole Miss team being a 4-5 team and not much of a challenge on paper. But from what you know of them and what you've seen of them this year, what about their defense and what you guys can do to them concerns you the most?
We just started breaking them down this week, really Sunday night. So still trying to figure out a game plan that we really just love. But they are athletic, and I've been in that league. To play in that league, you gotta have something about you. And the fact that they're 4-5, or 4-5 record, in a normal year they'd be 8-5. They would probably won their 4 non-conference games, and they lost I know 2 games by 1 possession. So they are a great team, and I've been in that league. I played in it, I coached in it, and wins are hard to come by in that league. So for them to be a play here or play there away, they are a good team and a good defense. I know the stats probably might not say that, but they cause a lot of disruption, and they get after the quarterback pretty good.
All right, Sammy, then Zach.
Good afternoon, Coach. We know about Ty, we know about Wap and Miles Marshall. Who are some of these younger guys that are going to benefit from these extra bowl practices and maybe see some playing time in the bowl game that we should keep an eye on?
The younger guys, just in general, David Baker, Jacoby Hewitt, Gary Cooper, Jordan Jakes, those guys, the number of reps that we can bank right now, it's like an extra spring ball, a couple of days of extra spring ball. So it's good for them, good for me to see what they need to improve on. About playing the bowl game, I don't know how that's going to play out. It just depends on who's available. And but I'm going to put the best guys out there and give us the best chance to be successful.
All right, Zach, and then John Blau.
Coach, sorry, I'm something a little bit more off the wall, but I asked Kane about this too. I'm just kind of doing a story about – it seems like everybody's got a story about Coach Allen going out on the road recruiting with him, either something maybe a little bit funny that he had to do or, the ways he connected with guys. Kane told a story about a visit you may have had where he kind of had to put down some food that maybe was a little bit spicier than he's used to. I was wondering if you remembered that and if there were any other stories that kind of jumped off the page, either IU or even, going back in your time together before IU.
Yeah, that we had to go down to New Orleans, and Tom is not a seafood or a spicy person. And, down in New Orleans, they don't know how to make anything that's not spicy. So we did a home visit. They had a big pot of seafood gumbo. And hopefully you guys know Tom by now. He's not ever going to tell anybody no. And I tried to give him a little way out and tell him, he doesn't eat seafood. But, Tom was like, no, you made it. I'm going to eat it. And down south, there's no such thing as a small bowl of gumbo. And so they put this huge bowl of gumbo in him. And bite after bite, his face became redder than this background behind me. And after each bite, he had to take a sip of Sprite. And by the time he got halfway through the bowl, he had 7 Sprites around him. And then finally I talked him into giving it to me. And so I finished that, and she had made pot roast. So in his mind, Midwesterner pot roast, it can't be that bad since no more pot roast. Well, once again, down in New Orleans, they put a little kick in their pot roast. And so he started eating that pot roast, and it was probably spicier than the gumbo. So eventually I took that from him too, after he now has down probably 12 Sprites. And so then they talk about dessert. And the one dessert Tom does not like is cheesecake with cherry sauce on it. Well, that is the one dessert they had, was cheesecake with sauce on it. And she put about 3 ladlefuls of cherry sauce on top. And so he would take a bite, and somehow, some way, and I'd watch him, but as he was chewing, he would plug his nose. And it was like pain and agony for him to swallow that cheesecake. And we stayed there for at least 2-3 hours. And when we left, I couldn't stop laughing because he was sweating. And he actually missed his flight the next day to go somewhere else on the road recruiting because he was so sick in the hotel that night. But that's one of my favorite stories. He'll do whatever he's got to do to get a recruit. Sad thing is, 2 days before the kid said he wasn't coming to Ole Miss and he was going somewhere else. So he did all that for nothing.
All right, John Blau, then Nick Suss.
Wap was talking about Ty, that on the recruiting trail they called him Jump Ball. I don't know if you were at all involved in that nickname, but I guess, is that the part of the game that really stood out to you when you saw him as a recruit, was just his ability to get balls in the air? And how much have you seen that in practice and just throughout the years with Ty?
Yeah, so just so you know where the name Jump Ball came from, when he didn't know it was actually called a fade, but like, I want to run a fade. He just always say, Coach, I want to run a jump ball. I was like, what's a jump ball? Man, just throw it up. I'll jump and go get it. But small town Mississippi, I knew what he was talking about. I love him to death. But yes, recruiting him, that was one ability that stuck out time and time again, that if you threw him a 50-50 ball, he had a great knack of going in and attacking the ball and making those plays. And like I say, he's just worked to get better and refine the rest of his game. But, as a quarterback, you always got to feel good about, if you throw it close to the guy, there's always a good chance he'll come down and make a play for you if you just give him a chance. And Ty has done that very successful this year. So, but that's one ability that he came in being able to do, and he's done it more and more, and he's gotten better at it.
All right, Nick Suss from the Clarion Ledger.
Hey, Grant, you brought up Ronnie, you brought up some of the family. I was just wondering if, in the couple of days since this bowl was announced, if you've heard any smack talk from some family, some former teammates from Ole Miss, just about the matchup and what you guys have ahead of you.
No smack talk. There's this, I think there's good mutual respect. Those guys that I still stay in touch with, they've watched what we've done. They respect what we've done, and vice versa. I respect what Ole Miss has done. Like I said, they've lost some close games, and the ball bounces the other way. They could be easily 7 and 4 or whatever it would be. My math's bad right now, but no smack. I don't have any smack to talk. Like, that is my alma mater. But I have a job to go down there and prepare Indiana as much as possible and get my guys ready to go and go win this football game.
All right, Tom Brew, last one.
Grant, we haven't had a chance to talk to you since Michael got hurt. Can you talk to us a little bit about how it's been with your guys and Jack, and how and the comfort level they've gotten to over the last few weeks?
It was a short week, getting ready for Wisconsin. And you really fail to realize those banked reps that you get in the summer that normally those guys would go out and throw, and when they're out there by themselves, normally it doesn't matter what quarterback's in, they just jump in and get reps. And so those banked reps, you could tell they're missing. But my guys know I don't care who's that quarterback. If I'm playing quarterback, If Coach Sheridan comes out of retirement, he's playing quarterback. It doesn't matter. If the ball's thrown to us, our job is to go out there and go catch it. And Jack, everybody has confidence in Jack. Jack shows what he can do in practice. They know what he can do. He's a great leader. We all miss Mike, but we all have a job to do. We got to go out there and perform at a high level.
All right, thanks, Grant.